Chris Torres, yo. What's up, dude? Hope you guys can hear me. I'm in the middle of. It's kind of blocked by the caption and shit, but this I just put in this studio rack, and I haven't. I've still got to run cables and stuff to the new interface and the new preamp and all that stuff. So I'm still, that includes the cable to this microphone. So I haven't taken out the old one yet. So I decided I would just use the old one for right now because I haven't configured the new one and all that stuff. Your screen is buffering. I am also, my computer's in the process of uploading a video at the same time, so that may have something to do with it. How far along are we? 77%? 78%? So hopefully with any luck that'll be done in a few minutes, and that will speed things up a bit if it's doing the buffering thing. I know that's annoying. So how is everybody? Jonathan Knapp, Andy Biggers. Andy Biggers, there's a new name I haven't seen in the chats before. Or the live stream chats, that is. Ian Nunez says everything looks and sounds good on my end. Alright, then I'm not going to worry about it. So, Dripping Glass says, hi, have you tried the Serio Centura yet? I have not, but that's a little close. I have not, but my experience with Seriotone amps is that just about, they're all pretty badass. They've got a JCM. My first exposure to Seriotone was when I was at the store. Somebody sold us a used. Obviously, it was a used JCM, their used JCM 800 clone, and they just call it the JCM 800. I don't know how they're able to get away with that, but they do. At any rate, they, it sounds as advertised. It sounds just like a JCM 800. I thought it was badass, and I've actually wanted one of those ever since, but they don't. Really, you gotta order them direct. You can save a few bucks by ordering the kits and putting them together yourself. But I'm not an amp tech. I'm quite sure I'd screw that up. So, they're based out of Malaysia, I think, or Madagascar. It's one of those two places. So they are not real easy to get a hold of, and by the time, even for clones, by the time you pay imports and all that kind of stuff, they're still fairly expensive. But yeah, so I haven't tried the Centura, the Centura yet. I'm not familiar with it. I don't know what it's based off of or anything, but Seriotone doesn't make junk, man. I wouldn't be afraid of it. Andy Beggar says I usually watch on my TV. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Texas Bootlegger Park King Aries here. Chris Torres, thoughts on the positive grid spark? It's not my thing. I'm not big into modeling amps and that kind of stuff. As you guys know, they're pretty. It's just not my thing, man. I just want to be able to plug in an amp, turn some knobs, and go. I don't want to have to rely on my phone to drive the damn thing. I know a lot of people. They've been popular. A lot of people had a lot of great things to say about them. I included them on my best practice amps video. I don't know when it was, 6 months or so ago. Maybe not quite that long. Just because they've kind of taken over they've filled a niche for a lot of people, in a lot of different scenarios. So, like I said, not my thing. I'm never going to own one. I'm never going to demo one on this channel. It's just not my thing. But a lot of other people who it is their thing seem to think it's a great product. Andy Bigger says, Robert, what are your thoughts on Warmup Parts? I just built a Strat from their components, and I must say their bodies and neck are absolutely beautiful. Quality-wise, it's there, absolutely. They're, they do make some of the best guitar parts in the business. As far as necks and bodies go, and most of them are Fender style, one form of fashion or another, necks and bodies. If you're not aware, Warmup are known for some of the best fretwork in the industry. So if your guitar plays exceptionally well and has exceptionally good fretwork, that's what's supposed to happen. Now the downside to it is, if you build a guitar from the ground up with all Warmup parts, you're married to it. You are never going to get probably even half of that investment back out of it if you go to sell it. So, they lose their, and this is true for any guitar with a Warmup part in it, or Warmup neck or a body in it. You're going to absolutely kill the value of something, of your guitar if you go swapping out the factory parts with Warmup parts, even if the Warmup, if you go swapping out, if you got a Strat, you go swap out the neck for a Warmup neck, even if the Warmup neck is better, even if it's a lot better, still going to kill the value of the guitar. So, you're married to it, like I said. Jackson or Charvel. They're basically the same company, I suppose if I had to choose one, I'd say Jackson, but they've been the same company since. God, when did Jackson buy Charvel? It was like '86 or something, wasn't it? Yeah. So they're both great guitars. Both great guitar brands, I should say. I don't own a Jackson. Now that I think about it, I got a couple Charvels, but I don't own a Jackson. Oh well. But sorry about that. Texting the missus. Ian Nunez says everybody else already demoed the positive grid amp anyways. Yes, they did. My buddy Alan Barnes over at Geargasms has gotten a lot of mileage out of his Spark, though his was not provided by Positive Grid. He paid for his by himself. He paid for his on his own, and he has no affiliation with Spark whatsoever. So all of those videos that he's done on that and all the opinions in it are all him. Dripping Glass says Grover Jackson bought Charvel in 1979, I believe. God, was it that early? I didn't think so. I thought Charvel was still like some of those early 80s Charvels, like the ones that Steve Vai was playing at the time. I thought those were still. I thought those were still Wayne Charvel era. When did Jackson Grover Jackson by Charvel. Mr. Google says 1978. Holy shit. Jackson worked at Charvel's Guitar Repair, a small shop in California that specialized in hot rodding traditional electric guitars before he bought the company from founder Wayne Charvel in late 1978. Wow. Learn something new every day. I didn't realize it was that early. Charles 75N says, so Robert Jackson does not own a Jackson. Believe it or not, not only do I not own one, but I've never owned one. And I've always wanted one. I've always loved the Warriors. I've always loved the Warrior body style and the soloists and the Dinkies. The Kellys are cool too. I've always loved all that stuff. But I don't know. I guess I just never got around to buying one. There's always something else that came up that I wanted more. Therefore, I was really hot for a DK2M there for a while. It was a made in Japan dinky, and I would still like to find one of those. I have always been on the prowl for one for a DK2M and either Iridescent Swirl or the Red Crimson Swirl, but those two finishes go for a lot more money than the rest of the finishes, and they never pop up either. So, they're really hard to find. And now it's not somebody it's getting harder and harder to find one that hadn't been butchered. So, so those are hard. Those are hard. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a Jackson one of these days, but. The other problem that I have is with Jackson guitars, I don't want one unless it was either made in Japan or made in the U.S. Those are the only ones I'd really be interested in. Some of the newer stuff made in Mexico and India just doesn't excite me, even the nicer stuff. So Fender era stuff basically. So the Japan is definitely going to be the Japanese models are the more economic way to go, but again, now you can't find them, and those prices have skyrocketed since too. So Yankee Peters says, "Hi Roberts, what was the consensus on how to disclose manufacturer provided gear?" Referring to the video that I posted here earlier this week about what the best way is for creators like myself to disclose when we have been either provided gear for free for a video, or we have been given a discount for to buy said gear for a video, or we have been paid outright for production of said video. So, there really hasn't been a consensus. I read every comment. I've read every comment on that video that you guys left. And you guys left a lot of comments on that video. So thank you for that very, very much. YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streamings. Such viewers will experience buffering. Okay, well, be ready for some buffering here for a little bit, folks. Apparently my internet's going to give me an attitude today. That video is 87% uploaded. It's kind of a long video, so I guess that's why it's taking so damn long. Anyway, so consensus, there wasn't really a consensus, but for the time being, I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing, and clicking the stupid paid promotion box when I upload videos, and then I don't know, down the road, probably what I'm gonna do is take a page out of the Ryan Burke from 60 Cycle Hum playbook, and I'm gonna put a blurb of some kind of the very beginning of every video, but make it comedic and entertaining, and make a joke out of it, but still that says there may be products in this video that that I have been paid to feature or compensated somehow, whatever it may be. I don't know. I don't want to just copy and paste what he did. Obviously, that's kind of weak, but. Yeah, so I don't know. That's what I did discover. Nobody seems to really, none of you guys anyway. Now, most of the people that commented on that video are people that already subscribe to this channel. So, so it's, in generally speaking, subscribers to this channel versus not, people that don't subscribe to this channel. Those two mentalities are usually a lot different. People that don't subscribe have no problem. People that don't subscribe, have no problem being an asshole and all those things. Whereas people that do subscribe, whilst there's certainly plenty of you that don't have any trouble speaking what's on your mind. But there's a certain level of bias there because for whatever reason you subscribe to this channel for a reason, whether it be for me or the content or whatever it is, so you're a little bit more likely to defend me, I guess is the best way to describe it, which is great. I'm very grateful for that, but that was the vast majority of the people that did comment on that video. And most of you said that the little paid promotion banner at the beginning of the video didn't bother you. You couldn't care less. It's gone in a couple of seconds anyway. So, but a couple of you did say that disclosing that information down in the description of the video, which is essentially really is out of the way and not very visible for a lot of people, and other people aren't going to know to go look there, can come across as attempting to put it, to put that information in an obscure place where a lot of people wouldn't see it. So, what, like I said, I'm just going to keep doing it the way that I've been doing it for the time being, and until a better idea comes along. So, Park Kingery says, my Spark makes a great Bluetooth speaker. It is a Bluetooth speaker as well. You were one of the people that waited like 6 months to get yours, if I remember. Warriors are awesome. Sonia Anubis plays them. I don't know who Sonia Anubis is, but he does. And Marty Friedman was a big Jackson Kelly guy back in the 80s and 90s with when he was back in his Megadeth days and after. Fat Philosopher says, I was looking at a Grover Jackson Dinky today. How is the Grover Jackson different from just Jackson? If it's one, I think what happened, I think Grover Jackson, I have not played any of those. I think the new Grover Jackson guitars, Grover sold Jackson to Fender in, what was it, 2003, I think. And I don't know if he signed a non-compete when that happened. I'm not sure, but he was real quiet for about 10 years. And then all of a sudden, he was the guy. Grover Jackson is the guy that designed all of the Friedman guitars. Those are all Grover Jackson. And he did those, and I think he did was contracted to do some similar work for some other guitar companies. And I think I had heard that he decided to just open up his own new guitar shop, and so all American made, all custom built, one at a time kind of thing. So it's not like there's a ton of them out there, but. I've got to assume that they're going to be pretty similar to the original Jacksons. So, at least, what they were back in the 80s and 90s. same guy was designing them. Usually, those guys tend to only, they tend to know how to design guitars one way. So, but I guess until I actually get my hands on one, I can't tell you. Pardon me. Dave Evans says, "Hey, from Canada. Hey, from the U.S., Dave. Welcome." KY Bob says, "Always curious, how do you feel about BC Rich guitars?" I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them hanging up right above me right now. This one I've used this one in a video a lot, and I know it's upside down, but this is an ASM Pro that I bought. Me and a buddy of mine took a road trip over to Cincinnati one day, middle of the summer, several years back, and just to go check out some of the guitar shops, because they've got they've got one shop over in Cincinnati in particular called Mike's Music, which is really, really cool. They sell a lot of they've got a lot of really cool stuff. And despite the fact that Mike's Music and a couple other places we went all had some cool stuff, none of them really had anything that I just couldn't live without. And we decided to pop into the Guitar Center over there while we were there. And that was just about our last stop. And when we left, so when we were in there, that guitar was hanging on the wall, and at a price that I couldn't pass up. So, and also, the manager of that store at that time happens to be a friend of mine. So I said, "Hey, Eric, what can you do for me?" And he did for me, and I bought it, and it's one of the best playing guitars that I own, actually. So I love BC Rich guitars. Warlock is a horrible guitar to play. Nah, no, it's not. No, it's not. It takes the body shape takes a little getting used to, just like a lot of their other body shapes. But nah. No, I mean, I've got 2 Warlocks hanging up right here. Casey Strange in the super chat. Thank you, sir. So just bought an Epiphone Custom SG with Seymour Duncan Fat Cat P90s. Do you use P90s? Also, what do you think about the Gibson and the Inspired by Gibson line? The P9. I actually do not own a single. I've never owned a guitar with P90s, so no, I'm not much of a P90 user yet, or ever. I wouldn't mind having a P90 guitar laying around, but I don't know. I just never run across something that every time. Really, the only thing that I've run across I can think of that has P90s, I'm thinking that would be a cool addition to the collection. Are those the Yamaha Rev Stars? But when I look at those and I look a little bit closer, like, man, I'd much rather have one of the ones with humbuckers. So maybe I'll get a couple of those one of these days, one with humbuckers and one with P90s, but. I've just always been a humbucker guy, and despite the fact that I love the sound of a Strat as much as I do, I've got my Chapman ML1 traditional for that sound, and a couple of other guitars with coil taps for similar sounds. But I'm a rock and metal player, man. I'm just a humbucker guy. So. Niburu says, "I know this isn't guitar related. My apologies. What is the best affordable synth you recommend and have played?" Well, if like synthesizer, I don't play synthesizers, so that I couldn't tell you. I know some of the Behringer stuff is pretty affordable, like the Poly D. I know a lot of people that one's supposed to be a clone of some other one that's really, really expensive. Those synth guys, the Moog guys, the ARP 2600s, that's a like a really, really niche community that I honestly, I would recommend, if that's the kind of thing if I'm understanding you right, if that's the kind of thing you're looking for, get on the forums and the Facebook groups, and consult those guys. Honestly, it's I have no idea. If you're talking about synth pedals, boy, I know there's a bunch of those out there too. If I were going to recommend one right now, it would probably be the Boss SY1, just because that's one of the. I don't have one yet, though I really want one. And it's not one of their cheaper pedals. They sell that one for like $200, but that's one of the coolest things Boss has come out with in a long time. So Boss has come out with a lot of cool stuff here recently as well. But the SY1, I really want one of those added to my collection. For a number of reasons, because it does a lot of really, really cool stuff. They got that one. They hit a home run with that pedal. My custom shop, KY Bob says, my custom shop assassin neck through is amazing, very thin. Every cut has body contour. I've always loved the craftsmanship of BC Rich's, with the exception of the Praxis era. That stuff I thought was garbage. Unfortunately, thank God it's over. But just about every other, every other era of BC Rich, I've always thought that their quality across the entire line, I don't care what price point you're talking about, has always been top notch for what you're paying for it. Nowadays, with the exception of the Gunslinger, which is only a bolt-on neck model, the exception of the Gunslinger, I generally won't touch a BC Rich if it's not neck through. So they're just, they're the ones that pioneered that design, the neck through construction design. That's a beast. That's I don't know that Bernie Rico invented it, but they were one of, if not the first companies to start mass producing their guitars built that way. And so to me, all BC Rich is supposed to be neck through. I do own a couple of bolt-ons. So let me clarify that. I have my Mikey Bird Evil Edge SE that I've had for. God, I bet that guitar's 15 years old now, easy. That one is a bolt-on neck. The acrylic Warlock, which I don't think you guys, I can't get it. It's too heavy for me to pull down from sitting down here. But that one's a bolt-on neck, obviously. And that one, all the acrylic guitars were bolt-on necks. That was the only way to build them. But and my Dagger, the semi-hollow body Dagger, is a set neck. Which is the only way that those came. But all the rest of my BC Riches are neck through. So the Warlock Horn, Fat Philosopher says the Warlock Horn digs into your picking arm, gets really annoying. I never really found any discomfort with that. What I found the most, what I found that took the most getting used to was actually the top horn that would, kind of dig into my chest a little bit, in my sternum. That's what took the most getting used to me. Took the most getting used to for me. Casey Strange, I just realized you asked me two questions in that the super chat that you popped in there, and I only answered one on. The other one said also, what do you think about the Inspired by Gibson line? I apologize. I honestly, I think, when I'm trying to figure out how to say this without coming off as too much of a guitar snob, but I will. Let me start by saying I think Epiphone's quality is as good now as maybe as it's ever been. I think the quality coming out of the Epiphone factory over in China, and if you're not aware, by the way, Gibson does own the Epiphone factory in China. They don't contract that out. All the guitars coming out of that factory right now are really, really nice. I think they've done an excellent job. You know, my hang up is still, you know, because after, you know, and I do own an Epiphone or two, a couple of them here. Such as this one. This is a 92 Epiphone Flying V. It was actually made in Korea. And which is a great guitar, but it's a V, so it I haven't played out in forever, so that guitar doesn't get played much anymore because it's such a pain in the ass to sit down with it. But let me adjust my chair here a little bit. There we go. That's a little more comfortable. You know, so I own that. I also have my Black Beauty Les Paul that I've had forever. That was my first Les Paul, so that one's always going to have a special place. But, you know, I mean, nowadays I don't even bother with them unless it's an actual Gibson. So, you know, again, my opinion. So there is a quality difference between the Gibsons and the Epiphones. You know, all the people that, you know, say, oh, you know, $2,500 Gibson Les Paul, you can get the same thing in an Epiphone for $500. No, you can't. It's not the same. It's just not the same. So, you know, and really, it's one of those things that until you've owned both, you don't know. So, that said, Epiphone, you know, the Epiphone brand is a lot more consistent than the Gibson brand is. The Gibson brand is, it's got, you know, it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of years after their new leadership came in and took over, but they still got a lot of work to do. I'm scared, you know, as a guy that sells a lot of Gibsons for a Gibson dealer, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still real nervous every time I sell one because I'm afraid customers going to get a lemon and it's going to come right back. So Gibson need to get a handle on that like yesterday. ESP or Jackson? Jackson for me. Not that there's anything wrong with ESP. I'm not real big on most of the LTDs. Some of them are okay, but not real big on the LTDs. But ESPs are great guitars. I prefer Jacksons. Dripping Glasses. I've seen Japanese guitars for the home market with Grover Jackson on the headstock. I don't, you know, again, I don't know. You know, I remember reading about it, you know, about Grover Jackson starting a new guitar company. God, I don't know what it was, a couple years ago, maybe. You know, and that's literally the extent of my knowledge on it. I haven't even seen one, so I haven't seen him. I haven't played him. I don't know anything about the specs or, you know, what he's doing differently. I don't know. Dave Evans says, "Have you had your shot yet?" I have. I got vaccinated back in May. Actually, I had my shot. I went and got mine as soon as I was eligible. Dwight Bailey's here. Hello, Dwight. How are you? Dylan Talks Tone makes single coil size P90s. What is a single coil size P90? I mean, I always thought P90s were like humbucker size single coils, basically, is what they were. Jonathan Knapp says Dylan maybe 3 P90s to replace the 3 Jazzmaster pickups in my 2017 Gibson Gary Clark signature, and it finally sounds like a Gibson. Interesting. KY Bob says, my Mockingbird was bolt-on. It was so heavy, we nicknamed it the Brick. BC Rich has made a lot of heavy guitars over the years, man. I mean, this acrylic is that acrylic Warlock's about the heaviest fucking guitar I've. It's definitely the heaviest one I've ever owned, and maybe the heaviest one ever. I mean, that guitar, I weighed it. That guitar's close to 15 pounds, but acrylic / lucite guitars are known for that. If you take that one out of the equation, my Mockingbird Special, which is, I did a video on that, I think, a while back. Maybe I did. Maybe I don't remember. That one is kind of is one of the, it's got a carved top on it and 4-knob control. It's kind of, lends itself more to like a Les Paul style guitar. And it's also a 24 3/4 inch scale as opposed to 25 1/2, like most of them are. So, but that one's actually one of the heavier ones that I own. And my Eagle bass is also a tank, which is that guy right there. I only own 2 basses. That's one. I use that one in my Charvel 3B that I have hanging up out of my other desk. Which I basically, when I'm recording tracks for videos and stuff, that's about the, I have to pick up a bass to track a bass somehow. Otherwise, it's, there's going to be a bunch of tracks with no bass in it. So I own these 2. Between the 2, I do prefer the BC Rich Eagle. It's a lot boomier and thumpier. I like the sound of it better. It's just, 3B sounds great too. I play that one a lot, but I actually do prefer this one. People say, quote, Gibson quality is getting better, unquote, but there's really no proof of that. Wishful thinking. They sent out a V to Trogley with the wrong pickups in it. Yeah, that's. I don't know. The reason why I say that is because when I've sat down and played some of the new ones, like and the new ones I'm talking about, like when they first came out with the current line a couple of years ago, and they dropped the model year bullshit and the push pull pots on everything bullshit, and all the other bullshit that nobody wanted on their freaking Gibsons. When they finally just got back to producing a good old-fashioned Les Paul standard with a 2A flame top on it for $2,500, that line, that you can still buy today. I sat down and played those and remember thinking this is a lot more like what Gibsons used to be like pre. Henry really started going batshit crazy around 2006, 2007. So so around probably they redesigned the standard in 2002. So probably between 2000 2005, something like that. That was probably the last era that I can think of that Gibson was still, they still had the reputation that they've earned. As opposed to what they have since become in the last 15 years. But that current line is now a lot closer to that than what they've been putting out. So, that's why I say that. The ones that I've got my hands on, I thought were pretty good guitars. I haven't really run into any lemons, that I've seen. But they hang on a shop wall long enough and aren't maintained the way that they're supposed to be. They get pretty fucked up pretty quick. Jack Collins is here from Louisiana. Welcome, Jack. That Philosopher says, my heaviest is a Les Paul. Surprise, surprise, my lightest is my V. Just bought a 29 traditional Les Paul, supposed to be void of all the modern crap. Well, all the Les Paul traditionals, that was one of the few things that Gibson had kept doing right. Really what the traditional was they redesigned the Les Paul standard in 2002 and then again in 2008. And the 2008 redesign, that's the one where they started chambering the shit out of it and, putting all the funky electronics and all that shit. So when they did that, that's when they also came out with the traditional, which was basically the old standard without all the bullshit in it. So, and that's what the traditional was always supposed to be. Was just a good old fashioned Les Paul standard. So then when new management came in, the standard, the traditionals and the classics, those two models they were only a couple $100 apart in price, and feature wise, they were, really about the, they had different pickups in them, and the classics were plain top, and the traditionals were typically a flame figured top of some kind. That was really the only difference. And so they had to make the decision to drop one of those lines. They had to drop one of those models because it just didn't make sense to have both of them in there. So they dumped the traditional, put the old standard back to what it was, came out with the modern standard to replace the people that want all the extra bullshit, and kept the classics. But yeah, my heaviest guitar is, definitely that acrylic Warlock. That thing is ungodly heavy. My lightest guitar, shit, I don't know. Boy, what is my lightest guitar? Probably my Majesty, to be honest with you. That thing's less than 7 pounds. So it's probably that one. LOL Popcorn Nuggets. That's an interesting screen name. Do you plan making Discord? I have a Discord account. I don't I don't have the I don't really use it for influencer or or YouTube purposes, but I the only reason I downloaded it is because I was a guest host on the Practical Guitarist podcast one time, and that's what they used to stream their podcasts. So to get everybody on the same screen, I had to use Discord. So I downloaded it because that's what they were using. So, I know Ola England was big on it there for a while. I haven't heard him pushing it in a while. So I don't beyond that, I don't know what the difference would be. Neil Davis says, who did the better JCM 800 mod, Paul Rivera or Mike Soldano? Probably. So I'd probably Soldano, but it's kind of hard to talk about modding Marshalls without throwing Jose Redondo in there, as well. I think it would be, if you were gonna go head to head, I think it would probably be Mike Soldano versus Jose Redondo, who did who the better ones were, or who did the better mods. That said, I would much rather have a bone stock JCM 800 from the 80s. That there is no modification needed for that amp. I don't know why anybody would butcher one, hack it up. Biggerino is here. What's up, man? Ian Nunez says, I don't understand what's the deal and who it concerns if you paid for or loan or given gear you demo. Is it YouTube or the viewers or the creator? What's the problem? There, and it depends on, this varies a little bit from one country to the next. because this law is, there's something, it's different all around the world, which is why I think YouTube is seemingly intentionally vague regarding how creators are supposed to disclose when they've been compensated by a company for a product demo or something, and whatever form that compensation may be. Be it you get free gear, or they paid them outright, or they gave the creator a blowjob on the side. I don't know. It's that's where the confusion comes from. Is YouTube is not very clear how it's supposed to happen. How we are supposed to be informing you of that information. Me as a viewer, when I'm watching other people's channels, I don't give a fuck if somebody's been paid for the product that they're demoing or not. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I have eyes, I have ears, and I am perfectly capable of forming my own opinions based on the information that I am seeing and hearing in, said individuals' videos. And that is not just the guitar, the guitar gear demo channels. That's anything else that I watch. If I'm watching videos on watches, for example, I can get the information that I need from watching videos. So, from watching the videos, despite what the opinion of the creator presenting said video might be, and everybody's entitled to their opinion about a product, by the way. Again, my opinion, I don't give a shit. When I'm watching videos, I don't care how, or when somebody was compensated. But the fact remains that, for some reason, a lot of people out there do seem to care about that, and, do seem to think that those who are not being paid are, not influenced or being biased by an outside force, and therefore are going to be more honest. I can see where the skepticism comes from, and I get it. But, realistically, I mean, there has been a couple of, here's the thing, it's a really, really fine line, and in a really gray area. Company A sends me a product that I sit down to do a demo, to produce a video on, and problem is, product sucks. So, I can I got one of two choices. I can either send it back to the company, tell them, send it back to me when you get it right, because this is not, this is, nobody's, I'm going to do more harm than good for you here if I do this video, because I'm not going to lie to my audience. Or I can produce the video and, while being truthful about it, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's times that it makes sense, like with the Kolos guitar, for example, because that thing was inherent with flaws. I mean, there was probably, I stopped counting at six or seven. I don't remember what it was. And any one of those flaws individually, maybe even a couple of them, and I said this in that video, I can forgive. Mass production is not perfect. Sometimes mistakes are made, and sometimes those mistakes are minor and no big deal. But when they start piling up to half a dozen or so, that's a problem, and that I can't ignore. And that was the problem with that guitar. And I had received it expecting to be really, really excited about it. I was a little bit more diplomatic about it than Arnold plays, than my buddy Arnold, that Arnold Plays Guitar was. He was his video portrayed pretty much exactly what what we both were thinking. I just said it a little bit more eloquently, but I was really excited, because I really wanted to get one of those guitars on the channel. I was really excited to have it, and I thought maybe it'd be a cool addition to the arsenal, something I could use in some future videos, that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, it turned out to not be that. And the reason why I decided to go ahead with the video is because when I contacted them about it in advance to tell them about that stuff, they didn't give a shit. They gave me some blow off one sentence answer, and that was all, with no solution offered. So I said, okay, fine. If that's, if this is not important to you guys, I'm going to share what I have, what I've discovered here. And that was it. So, and I ended up selling the damn thing about a month later. So it's like I said, it's a really, really fine line between, do I send the company back and give, with my feedback before I do the video, give them a chance to correct these things, or do I put them on blast? And every situation is different, to tell you the truth. So, and and I guess the other thought that comes to mind is there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to this particular topic of disclosing, paid promotion to viewers. There's a lot of moving parts to it, and and not just from this side of it, but a lot of it's from that side of it too. Because there's so many different people out there with so many different opinions. Anytime, keep your eye on the guitar groups on Facebook, and because this topic comes up there every, from time to time, and you get all kinds of different opinions. You get the people that love to call people like me paid shills and all that bullshit. And then who don't trust any freaking review that they that they see. And for the record, I very rarely do reviews. I do demos primarily. I very, very rarely do reviews. But there's a lot of different people out there with a lot of different opinions and a lot of different expectations. Like, I don't understand the mindset of somebody, that just has to have, that absolutely insists on everybody disclosing that information to their audience. But like I said, I don't understand that mindset, but there are those people out there, and as a creator, you have to take them into account. Now, again, I've mentioned many times, I'm a big fan of Pete Thorne. I love Pete Thorne. I love his channel. I love his content. Not once of all the Pete Thorne videos that I have watched, not one time have I gone to his channel, to watch a video thinking to myself, gee, man, I wonder if he's, if he, where's the disclosure that he's being paid for this, for this demo here? Where's this disclosure? That thought has never crossed my mind watching any of his videos or anybody else's for that matter. Anybody who does have that thought cross their mind and they go to check out a video, a demo video, you need fucking counseling. You need deprogramming because you're fucked up in the head, in my opinion. So, that said, my opinion weighs very, very, very little on this topic as a whole. And, if I want to be a player in the game, I have to play by the rules that are handed to me, whether I like them or not. So, while some of this is frustrating for me, just because of the mentality of a bunch of fucking snowflakes out there, that seems to be the root of the problem. It also presents a lot of, legalese stuff for creators like myself to have to navigate through, which is why I tick the box in every video that I post nowadays. So, Ian, thank you very much. I saw you also dropped a few bucks in the super chat, which everybody is also very welcome to do, by the way. While I was answering that, I was giving you a very, very, very long-winded answer to that question because, like I said, it's a complicated, complex scenario all around. Dripping Glass says I have a 2019 SG Junior that weighs under 6 pounds. The case seems empty when you pick it up. SGs are like that, man. I've my SG doesn't weigh very much either. I've never weighed it, but it's significantly lighter than my any of my Les Pauls or anything like that. Les Pauls or Explorer. That's part of the reason why so many people like SGs. That's why Angus Young plays them. One of the main reasons why he plays them is because they're small, they're lightweight, and he's got a really small. He's a tiny little frame of a dude. And he needs a guitar that's more, sits on him a little bit better. Fits his body type a little bit better. Let's see. Fat Philosopher says, Ian Nunez, technically it is against the law not to disclose. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not a legal expert on the matter. I'm not an expert of any kind on the matter. I'm just a dude that likes to produce guitar videos. Likes to produce videos on YouTube about guitar gear. That's what I am, and try to follow the rules as best as I can, as best as I understand them. Like I said, YouTube is very vague on a lot of this stuff, but Park Kingery says thoughts on the new EVH 5150 Iconic coming out. I'm excited for it, man. The 5150 amp. I don't know how it sounds, but 5150 full size 5150 head, 80 watts I think it is for under $1,000. I think it's gonna sell for $899. I think the world needs something like that. So there were all the other full-size 5150 heads, the 5153s, and when you take the PV6505 line into account, and when you also take into account the way that the original PV5150s have skyrocketed on the used market since Eddie's passing, I think I think it's going to fill a hell of a large void in the market. No, I think hats off to EVH, and that I got to assume, I think that's a James Brown design as well, the same guy that designed the original 5150. So I'm hoping that they sound similar. So yeah, I'm on board, man. I really would not mind getting to try one of those. My channel's still a little bit too small. The Fender's going to send me anything, but I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I love Eddie Van Halen as much as anybody else. Absolute Mayhem says RGD Ola. We're two different people if you're talking about Ola England. I've actually never met him or communicated with him, but seems like a really, really cool guy. I like Ola. He's another guy whose channel I watch quite a bit. I like Ola England quite a bit. Stationary Rest says, does upgrading to locking tuners help with tuning stability, or is it only to help string changes easier? Honestly, my experience, it depends on the quality of the tuners. So, I don't, my experience, do locking tuners allow for more tuning stability? I don't know, man. A case can be made either way. I have, a couple 3 guitars that all have locking tuners on them, and they all hold tune pretty well. But I also have plenty of other guitars that do not have locking tuners or locking nuts or locking anything on them that also hold tune pretty well. It's one of those things. It's kind of like when the discussion comes up about what's the way that you're supposed to restring your guitar. You're supposed to wrap your strings on one loop over and one loop down when you're wrapping them on the post, and because it keeps it on there tighter, which I think is total bullshit. You know, that, and you're going to get a zillion different answers on that as well. It's who, I don't know, man. I mean, the guitar that you have. I mean, this is where I start. The guitar that you have, does it hold tune? If the answer is yes, why mess with swapping out the tuners for something aftermarket? If the answer is no, look and see what the options are. And there's options across all different price points. And see if it, then maybe put something new on there and see if it makes a difference. But tuning stability. While the tuning machines are a big factor on a guitar's tuning stability, they're not the only factor. So, setup and bridge height, neck tension, all that kind of stuff, all also play into it, as well as bridge, and particularly, is the nut shaped properly? The grooves in the nut, are they filed properly? If you're having tuning stability issues, that's usually the first place you should start, is lubricating the nut. Jonathan Knapp says, great show. If you're talking about this one, thank you. I don't know what I've done today has been so great about it, but Corleone the Third says, Robert, what's your opinion on Buck Dharma? I think he's insanely underrated. I'm going to probably strongly disappoint you and tell you that I don't even know who he is. I couldn't tell you. Assuming it's a he. Buck Dharma. Here, let me look him up. I'm not familiar with him at all. Buck Dharma, American guitarist. Donald Roser, his real name. Apparently been around a long time. Commonly known by his stage name, Buck Dharma, American guitarist, singer, songwriter, best known. The Blue Oyster Cult dude. Okay, that's who he is. Best known for being the sole constant member of Blue Oyster Cult since the group's formation in 1967. Never paid that close of attention to Blue Oyster Cult or any of their members individually, but I do love Blue Oyster Cult, the band. Don't Fear the Reaper, I think, is a brilliantly written song. And, yeah. So, if he was the main driving force behind that song, and, that is absolutely a guitar-driven song, he's, yeah. Cool Guitar Gear says he's late to the game. What's up, dude? Jonathan Knapp says, my body's skin chemistry dictates new string changes every 4 hours of playtime, hence locking tuners. I don't know, man. I don't know if locking tuners really save that much time when it comes to changing strings. They do save some, no question, but they save. I don't know if they save that much. At least for me, they don't. They save a little bit, not a lot. So, you guys got quiet all of a sudden. Ian Nunez says, depending if you have string slippage on the guitar, fix or change the nut before buying any locking tuners. Yeah, like I said, if you got a guitar that's, that is experiencing tuning stability problems, I mean, the nut is usually the first place that you need to start. Because if the nut is, either the slots are not cut properly, or the nut is not shaped properly, or, it's not, most importantly, it's not lubricated properly. When in the instance, that last one especially, the first one, the last one, as you're bending strings and you're playing, the strings, if this is the groove of the nut and this is the string, the string is supposed to be able to move freely back and forth through the groove. But if it's not lubricated properly, or the nuts are the wrong size, what happens is the string gets bound, going back and forth, and it won't stay, and it doesn't get to move freely, and your tuning goes in and out all over the place. So, and you multiply that times 6, and that's a huge pain in the ass. So, yes, check the nut first. Cool Guitar Gear says, love my latest drive, Parabellum by Night Owl Industries, and yes, it was provided to me. Tube driven with a boost, each on volume, treble, mid, bass, and gain. I think I'm addicted to drives. Awesome. I've done 2 recently. I mean, and they're pedals themselves. I did this one. I think you guys will see this one in the next week or 2. And then the Metal Zone anniversary pedal will be up right behind it. Of course, I mean, you guys know I love just about anything involving Boss pedals. So, but those were fun. But that Super Overdrive, I used that with that Wong's Mini 5 tube amp that I just demoed for you recently as well. That is a kick-ass overdrive for that amp. I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with how that sounds. I was. So, a lot of that obviously is the amp, but Robert, what's the string tree thing you reviewed that you attached to a Les Paul style headstock to improve tuning ability? That was the String Butler, is what it was called, the String Butler, and I did a little bit of trolling in that video by putting it on upside down just to piss a few people off, but it was in fact the String Butler is what it's called. Which you can buy them for like $50 on Amazon or something like that. Look up the video. The links are in the description. Should you need them, but they work, man. It's a legit design. If you got a Les Paul that's not wanting to stay in tune, that is one good way to fix it. So, in my understanding, it works on other guitars besides Les Pauls. So, 3x3, 3-3 headstocks. So, yeah, Vincent De La Rosa is here. Says greetings from Panama. Greetings, Vincent. Thank you very much for the latest round of coffee. By the way, if I meant to email you and say thank you, but if I forgot, and it's very, very possible that I may have, if I haven't said thank you yet, thank you very, very much. My wife in particular is, you have become her new favorite viewer. So, because she especially is enjoying all of the wonderful coffee that you have sent us from your part of the world in Panama. So he's sent me a couple of bags of real Panamanian whole bean coffee, and it's probably the second best coffee I've ever had. The best coffee I've ever had is at our whatever the stuff is that they serve at the resort that we go to in Mexico, which we're going back to again here at the end of the year. I don't know what it is. I keep trying to get one of the servers to get me back into the kitchen so I can get a peek at the bag that they're using. I don't know. I haven't figured it out, but that is the best coffee I've ever had. But the stuff that Vincent De La Rosa has sent us from Panama is from the same part of the world and just about as good. So, Ian Nunez, Godzilla burning for you. Don't fear the Reaper. Joan Crawford has risen from the grave. Yep, all good BOC stuff. Buck Dharma. That's one of those things, I've heard the name several times over the years. I just never bothered to look up who he is. But Cool Guitar Gear says the Mexican place may have a quality coffee press, which is why it tastes so good. I bought Cuban and Jamaican coffee that they served on location, and the taste is nowhere near what they had. It will, then that could very well be. I mean, it's a pretty nice resort that we stay at, and in fact, it's a really nice resort. So it would not surprise me at all if a lot of the other food at that place is top notch too. So I mean that would make sense. And it's God, they've got 6 restaurants in the place, among others, and who knows how many people coming in and out of there every year. So I'm sure they've got nothing but top notch commercial equipment. Vincent says I'll be in the U.S. Monday for 20 days. Want to drop a Charvel San Dimas style 2H to sell it, and buy PRS 513 or Les Paul Standard Desert Burst. I'm bringing some coffee for my family there. I'll send you some from Minnesota or Wisconsin. That'd be great. I'm not, I'm in Indiana, so which is about, I don't know, I guess depending on which part of Minnesota and Wisconsin. I mean, it's 6 or 8 hours away, but it's probably a day or two ship time, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, just shoot me an email when when the time comes. We'll figure it out. Matter of fact, shoot me an email, and the PRS of the Les Paul that you're interested in. Let me know, and I'll see what I can do to return the favor. How about that? Not to belabor the coffee thing, but this from Cool Guitar Gear says not to belabor the coffee thing, but great grandmother used to crack an egg in her coffee grounds and then brew it. Never tried it, but my mother swore by it. That's interesting. Huh. Brew an egg with the coffee grounds. No, not trying that, man. I'm still, don't mess with my coffee. I'll go French press. I will. I mean, now that I work from home, I don't really use a French press much anymore. But when I was still going back and forth to the office, having a French press handy was handy, and got a lot of use. Vincent says, I would like to know your opinion about the following pedal boards: Moore G300 Head Rush and the new Zoom pedal board. Oh, based on my limited knowledge of them, I mean, I would, between the three, the Head Rush is probably the way to go. Of the top notch, I don't, like the high end processor style, board processor boards. Like the Helix and the the Axe-Fx and all that stuff. The Boss GT1000. The Head Rush. The Head Rush is in that category, but it's probably the most affordable of all of those as well. Head Rush are a brand from they're an InMusic brand. InMusic are a huge company that own a lot of different brands. And they also make a shitload of money because they take the same designs and slap a different brand name on them, and then totally remarket it and remarket the same product over and over again, which is it irritates the shit out of me. But But that's how they do business. Regardless, the head rush is head rush is a good product, and it does sound really good. The new Zoom pedal board, like I'm familiar. I can't remember what it's called, the 1GN or something. I don't remember. I sold one of the smaller ones here recently, and the guy that bought it is somebody that I've done business with for a number of years now, and he seems happy with it. The Moore G300, I've not heard or played yet, but Moore are one of those brands that every time they're starting to come out with, like, they started out, if you remember, making mini-sized pedals that were clones of other pedals, and they had a shitload of them. Still do, but then they started branching out and coming out with their own designs, and most of the stuff that I've seen them put out has been pretty, honestly pretty interesting. I haven't bought much of it other than the Radar, which is the cab sim thing, which I thought was actually a pretty good product. Matter of fact, I thought it was really good. But some of the other stuff I've seen them come out with since then seems to be pretty neat, pretty good stuff. So I would say between the three, Zoom make a lot of good recording products. I don't know. I've never been really impressed with any of their guitar products. Between the three, I would probably rank them. Headrush first. Zoom, the Zoom thing last, just based on their history, and the Moore G300 being the wild card that who knows anything can happen with, because just because it's the least known from my perspective. Patchy the Pirate and Potty the Parrot. There's an interesting screen name. Hello from Milford, Connecticut. Everything's going. Things are going pretty good. I have no complaints. I have all of my video production for the week done and out of the way. I have all of my house chores out of the way. We have not received any rain here in the last couple of weeks here in Indianapolis, so I don't need to cut my grass because it hasn't grown any since I cut it last week. And so I am hanging out here with you guys for which I'll continue to do here for a little bit, and I'm gonna relax the rest of the day. There's a new Moe's Southwest Grill. Moe's, if you're not familiar with Moe's, they're a burrito chain. And, there's a new one that opened up here right around the corner, having their big grand opening. So I may go over there and get a burrito. The last time I had Moe's was 15 years ago. And, I thought it sucked ass, like a lot of ass. And I haven't been back there since. So, but, now that that was way out on the west side of town, which I never go out that way anymore. Now there's one open up right around the corner from me. Maybe I'll give them another chance and see if they fix things, and if they have made any improvements. So yeah, I may do that here later this afternoon. But I also, today is also I saw on the Book of Faces that today is also their grand opening, for that location. So I'm also not really much of a mood to stand in a fucking line outside all day on a Saturday. And tomorrow we're going to the state fair. So as you can see by the caption on the screen, so we're going to the fair tomorrow, which I love the state fair. I love the going to the Indiana State Fair every year. We didn't get to go last year because of COVID. We are going this year, and it'll be fun. So go down there, hang out for a few hours, and come back home, relax the rest of the afternoon. Probably play some video games, and now as I go do the fair tomorrow, and then at some point tomorrow, I'm recording it, so because I don't think I'm going to be home when it's on, but I got to watch the Hall of Fame. I got to watch the Hall of Fame induction because the Hall of Fame ceremony, because the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, Peyton Manning, is being enshrined. As well as Edgerrin James, and I think Marvin's already in, I think. So, But Peyton and Adrian are both being enshrined, and that's Peyton Manning was and is a big hero of mine. So I gotta watch that, and he's always entertaining to watch anyway. So I'm looking forward to hearing his speech. In regards to what kind of game you playing right now, and I haven't played it in a couple of weeks because I'm stuck and I'm kind of discouraged about going back to to see if I can get past it or not. But I am. Right now, I'm playing God of War on PS4, and I'm about. I think I'm almost done with it. I don't know, man. It's a long game. There's a lot of stuff in it, so. But I think I'm nearing the end, so hopefully I'll be able to get through that sooner rather than later, because then I'm gonna play what a Jedi Knight Fallen Order, I think is what it's called. That the new Jedi, not I guess it's a couple years old now, but the latest Jedi Knight game, RPG thing that's out. So I'm gonna play that next, and then I'm gonna play Infamous Second Son after that. So I've got a lot of games on my docket, so to speak. And then of course there's always the Mortal Kombat stuff that I am never opposed to working in the interim as well, because I love Mortal Kombat. Cool Guitar Ear says, ever do drive distortion stacking? If so, what combination surprised you or sounded best? What amp/guitar with the combo? Most recently was using the Metal Zone as a boost into my Laney IRT Studio. Heard a few people talking about using the Metal Zone as a boost, and I've never been a big fan of using distortion pedals as overdrives or boost of any kind, because distortion pedals there's just a different style of clipping, it's not designed to do that like overdrives and boosts are. So, but I heard a number of people in a forum, or probably Facebook group somewhere, talking about using the Metal Zone as a boost. And I'm like, all the years I've owned a Metal Zone, I've never tried that. So I tried it. Did a video on it recently, on this as well, by the way, and I was impressed. It actually sounded pretty good. It sounded real good, actually, into my Laney. Beyond that, no, I'm not a big fan of stacking, drives and distortions and and all that kind of stuff. I mean, honestly my preference is is either a good distortion pedal that I really enjoy, or an amp preferably an amp with a good distortion sound. I may use an overdrive in front of that, for solo leads and stuff like that, but using them to and I'm a little bit more open-minded to the idea of using overdrives as to tighten up the bottom end of high gain amps. So but an always on type of overdrive, Dan, probably really not my jam. I don't know, but then again, I mean, the vast majority of the guitar playing that I do nowadays is what you guys see in videos. So I don't really have I guess I don't really it's fair to say I don't really have a set rig right now that that is my rig. This is my grab and go. All my pedals are on the shelves that you see on the walls here around me. All my amps are in racks and stacked up and stuff, and I just kind of grab what I need as I need it and go. Pardon me. Jim Woodard's here. What's up, buddy? I was just talking about you here just a couple minutes ago, or your show anyway. You and David's show, the Practical Guitarist podcast. He says, "Hey Robert, looking forward to talking Monday New Biz soon. Thanks for all you do." Yeah, I don't want to repeat any more than what you've told me, because I don't know how much you want people to know yet. Not that you've told me a whole lot, but I am looking forward to talking to you here and hearing more about what you got planned. So, whatever it is, I'm sure you'll pull it off and be great at whatever it is. Good game, Jedi Knight. That's what a lot of people have said, I really like the trailers of it that I've seen. I really like the trailers, and but I have a rule: I won't start a new game until I have finished the one that I'm on. So, I like to play them one at a time these days, and it's just more fun for me. But the only exception is if I, either the one I'm playing I decide just sucks and I'm never going to play it again, then I'll ditch it. Or if, there's occasionally if I get to a spot that, that it's a really tough spot and I can't get past it, I get frustrated and I give up on it. So, and I God of War games, which is, I'm stuck in a spot right now, but, the God of War games are one of my all-time favorite game franchises. So I really don't want to give up on this one if I don't have to. I can live with this. I can get through the rest of the game without beating this particular boss, and if I don't do that, I could probably live with it if I can't get past him. But I'd like to be able to beat him if I can. Vincent De La Rosa says, "I just want something simple that I can leave at the studio plugged in, rehearsal." If you're going back to processors, the processor stuff, you might look into the, and again, I'm not familiar with the Moore G300 that you mentioned, but you might also consider one of the Helix, the Line 6 Helix model, like the HX Stomp in particular, is small, 3 switches, I think, and has a lot. It's got a lot of features on it. HX Stomp has been a really popular product for them. So, so some of those mini Moors were quite good. I had and was sponsored for a year from them. I still keep a few of those mini Moor pedals around. I think for the overall, for the most part anyway, I think they made pretty good stuff. They were also responsible for the for the Shimver, which I think is one of the most garbage reverb pedals I've ever heard. But they despite the Shimverb, they do make some pretty good stuff. So mostly I know a lot of their overdrives and other effects. Really, most of that pedal line I think is actually pretty good. They're not for everybody. It's like anything else out there, but overall, seem to be built and designed pretty well. So, all right. That being said, I gotta go decide what I'm gonna do about lunch, and I also got a tenderloin I think I'm gonna make for dinner tonight. I haven't figured that out yet either, but I don't know if I can cook that on the grill or not. I guess I'm gonna have to do some research about best way to cook a tenderloin. And before I forget, is my video 100% uploaded. Finally, took you long enough, YouTube bastards. So yeah, I gotta go figure out some. I gotta go figure out some lunch and figure out some dinner and play some video games, and probably take a nap because it's Saturday and I take naps on Saturdays. So, yeah. Yep, I don't have anything else. So, you guys all enjoy the rest of your weekend. The video will be up tomorrow night, and